This is a video tutorial for the Happy Days SYNDY Slimming Group wallet. It has a Velcro fastening. It has room for your books, your membership card and a pen. And this is how we make it. And this is what you'll need: fabric for the lining, fabric for the outer, and a small piece of Velcro. You'll need to cut one front and one lining. I've put some interfacing on the back of my pretty side. It's completely up to you. You will need to cut out 2 front pockets in your pretty fabric, and once again, if you want to, add a bit of interfacing to the back. And you'll need to cut out 2 lining pieces. It is right that the lining, if you compare it, is a lot bigger. That is correct. All will be revealed as we make it. Then you'll need to cut 1 pocket piece. This will be the pocket for your membership card and pen. And then this piece of fabric is for the tab. And to give it a bit more strength, because you'll be opening and closing it a lot, I've added some more interfacing on the back. Finally, cut a piece of Velcro about 5 centimetres long. We'll start by making the tab. Take your tab fabric and fold it in half like I am doing. And you can either take it to your iron or lightly crease with your finger and then open out. Next, fold it in half long ways, as we did before, and finger press. Using the 2 creases we made, measure 2 centimetres down from the centre crease and place your Velcro. Make sure that you're putting it onto the pretty side, onto the right side of your fabric. Next, take it over to the sewing machine and carefully sew your Velcro into place. I've sewn my Velcro into place, and now I'm going to fold in half, and again using that crease I made to help. Line up all the sides and edges, and then add a few clips along this edge and this edge. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew along this side and stop. Again 1/4 inch seam allowance and sew along this side and stop. We're not sewing on the bottom, on the open bit. I've sewn along both sides, snip the corners, and now I'm going to turn it the right way out through the gap at the bottom. I've turned the tab the right way around, and I've pushed out the corners, and I've also pressed it, and we're going to put that to one side for the moment. Place your outer fabric pretty sides up, and if you are using directional fabric as I am, make sure it is going the right way. Fold it in half lengthways just to determine the centre, and lightly crease the right hand side and open out. Using the crease we've just made, measure in 2 centimetres and place your Velcro at this centimetre mark. Then take it over to your sewing machine and sew into place. That's my tab sewn into place, so I'm going to put it to one side while we work on the pockets. We are now working on the pockets. This is pocket number 1. Place your lining fabric and your outer fabric And once again, check that if you're using directional fabric, it's going the correct way as mine is. And place it right sides together over on this edge. Line up the top, the sides and the bottom, and add a few clips. Once you've added a few clips, take it over to the sewing machine and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance starting here at the top, sew all the way down to the bottom and stop. Don't worry at this stage that your lining looks longer or wider, I should say, than your outer. That's absolutely fine. I've sewn all the way down. Now I'm going to open it out and make sure that this edge and the edge of your lining matches up, lines up neatly. And then press flat, and as you'll see, you've got some of the lining showing for a nice effect. I've pressed, and I'm going to now sew along this stitch, which all that means is sew carefully on the join between the two fabrics. We're now working on pocket number 2. We'll start by making the membership pocket. So take your fabric that you've cut for your membership pocket and place it right sides down, so pretty sides down, and fold in half as I'm doing and press. Next, take it over to the sewing machine and top stitch all along the crease. You could use your fancy stitch here if you'd like to. I've top stitched along the crease of my membership pocket, and now I'm going to place it on top of the other outer side pocket. Make sure once again that your fabric is going the right way as mine is. Place your membership pocket as I'm doing, line up the bottom edge and the side edge and clip. Now take your lining fabric and place it right sides together on top, with the overhang of the fabric on this side. Line up all the sides and edges and then add a few clips. I've added my clips and I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine, starting here at the top, use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew all the way down to the bottom and stop. I've sewn all the way down and I'm going to open it up, flip it over and line up this edge to this edge. As you can see, you've got some of the lining fabric showing for a nice finish. I've pressed it and now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew in the ditch, and all that means is you sew in between the two fabrics where they join for a nice finish. Now take your ruler and measure 9 centimetres from this line of stitching you've sewn in the ditch and make a mark and then draw a line. Sew along this line and this will form the pocket for your pen and your membership card. I've sewn along my mark and now I'm going to use my iron and rub off my heat erasable pen mark. And that's my pocket number 2 finished for the time being. We're now ready to put everything together. take your main outer piece that you'd put the Velcro on earlier and fold it in half. This is simply to determine the centre. Make a finger crease and open up, and on the crease add a pin. This is just for a reminder. The pin will be the opposite side to the Velcro because eventually this is where the tab's going to go. We're now ready to put everything together. Place your large fabric piece which hasn't got the Velcro on and place it wrong sides down so you're looking at the pretty side. And take one of your pockets and place it on top carefully. Line up all the sides and edges. So this is the side for your membership card and this is the side without. Now place your remaining large piece of fabric, you just put the pin in it and place it carefully on top, right sides together. Again, double check that your fabric's going the right way. And add some clips. I've clipped all the way around and I'm now going to mark the position where the tab will go so we won't sew along that side. So take your tab that you made early and it's still probably got the crease in for the centre, and using that centre line, centre crease, line it up with your pin that you put in earlier, and then take your heat erasable pen and make a mark either side. I've added a couple of clips on the mark, and now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and starting at one of those marks, sew down to the bottom and stop, along and stop, back up this side and stop, all the way along here and stop, and then back to my second mark I made. You may also find it useful, as I've done, to add a few pins scattered around. This is just to hold everything in place as you're sewing. I've sewn all the way around and I've snipped all my corners, and I've also remembered to leave my gap between my marks, and it's through this gap I'm going to turn it the right way out. Once you've turned your wallet the right way out, turn in your raw seams that you left for the tab and press. I've added my tab and I've made sure that I'm looking at the Velcro, and I've also made sure that it's square along each side. It goes in about 1 centimetre. Now all that's left is for me to add a few pins and top stitch along the gap, securing the tab in place. I've top stitched my tab into place. I've added my books, my membership card and my pen, and that's my SYNDY all finished.